Rocket Ethereal here. Today my goal is to get good at Starcraft 2's new co-op mode, or Die Trying. This is a mode that they added with the recently released Legacy of the Void expansion, which is the final entry to the Starcraft 2 trilogy, beginning with Wings of Liberty, following up with Heart of the Swarm, and now with the Protoss themed campaign expansion. Of course, with every expansion that Blizzard has released for StarCraft 2, new units have been added for all three races, but that's beside the point. This co-op mode has actually been really fun. I do not enjoy real-time strategy games in general, but this co-op mode has actually been rather entertaining. So let's just go over a little overview of how this works. Since I don't own Legacy of the Void, I don't have access to these three heroes, but I do have access to Raynor, Kerrigan, and Artanis, each of which has their own set of units. You don't get to use all the units for the race, just some of them. Like if we look at Kerrigan's units here, we can see that she's actually missing quite a few. And as you level up the commander that you're using, she will also gain abilities and upgraded abilities, as well as unlock access to new units. And the reason for this is to give you a chance to advance as a player by letting you master the options that you start with and being able to take on more difficult missions as your character grows in strength. And when I say more difficult, I mean I've actually played and beaten several co-op missions on normal difficulty. But this is a beginner video because I'm still not good enough to do hard. So I'm just going to demo this with a normal mission. I'm selecting a random mission for bonus experience, which will help Kerrigan level up faster. Each of these missions is objective oriented. It's never just there's two enemy civs that you have to destroy. It's always there's something going on the map, like there's trains that are trying to get from point A to point B, or there are these siege machines that pop up outside of your territory and they will start destroying the objective and you have to take them out as fast as possible, something like that. I do think I've played pretty much all of them at this point, but I also don't find that it makes much of a difference. It seems different missions seem to exist more for the sake of variety than anything else, because none of them require you to do anything really special. There's always two aspects to it. The first aspect is that there is an objective outside of your base that you have to go take care of, usually with a large amount of units. The second is that the enemy will periodically send waves of increasingly difficult units towards your base. Alright, so I have been randomly matched up with Steve here, who seems to be a Protoss player. And you can see here that my objective is to destroy the Mobius core trains and to prevent the trains from escaping. Now there is a core objective and a bonus objective, and the bonus objective on this map you're going to see in the mini-map is going to be a track at the bottom, and over the course of the game, towards the end mostly, two faster trains will spawn with light escorts, and destroying those will give me and Steve here bonus experience, which I'm definitely going to be after, and which I don't perceive struggling with. While I'm not good enough for the hard difficulty, I do think I have gotten good enough so that I can pretty much handle any normal difficulty co-op mission on my own. It kind of makes the presence of the other player totally moot, but it still gives me a chance to sort of practice my build order and my build speed and my macro management, because I kind of struggle in that area. Starting in here, let's say hello and get started on our drones. If you are familiar with StarCraft 2, then you're probably going to gawk at how bad I am in the grand scheme of things. But like I said, this is a beginner video because I haven't been doing this for very long. I played StarCraft 2 just a little bit in college several years ago, but I was never actually good at it. I played with a few other guys who were doing the 4v4 league, and because they were so good, I got carried all the way to gold. So I have a gold league in my history, even though I'm terrible at this game. That's my second overlord, so I can start focusing on more drones. I should have enough minerals going that I can start on my 2 extractors. And hey, if you're watching this and you know what you're doing in StarCraft 2 and you see something that I could be doing better, please leave me a comment, send me a message. I don't care. Just give me some advice. That would be just fantastic. Start on our second extractor here. Still get some drones going. I've got enough minerals at this point that I think I can focus a few drones on my extractor and get some Vespene out there. I want to build a second hatchery, and the reason I want to do this is so that I can have twice the larvae spawning from my hatcheries. The way that the Zerg race works is that instead of building different units at different buildings, all units mutate from the larva or from existing units. Which means that for the early game, the Zerg are going to get all of their units from the larvae that are spawning at their hatcheries. Now I'm going to have a fair amount of time before I actually have to start fighting, so it's fine that I'm focusing completely on drones right now. We do have an expansion area up here that we can go to that has space for both me and Steve to have a base, but I'm not worried about that quite yet. This cocoon down here is Kerrigan's cocoon, and when the bar reaches the end there, she will spawn and I can start using her in combat. The reason that happens is because if there wasn't a timer, you could just send your hero to start attacking the rock that's at the expansion point. See, I'm blocked from building a base right now because this big rock is in the way. But it also kind of serves as a signal, especially on beginner, that the enemies are about to attack. In fact, I've found that on normal difficulty, usually the enemy wave or the first objective will spawn and the hero will spawn at the same time. Okay, I need to start building some more buildings here, so let's get a spawning pool. Spawning pool will let me make Zerg and has upgrades for Zerglings and Zerg ground units. And then okay, once that spawning pool is done, then I can evolve my hatchery into a lair. That's going to be necessary so that I can build a spire and start spawning the heck out of my mutalisks. Mutalisks I found to be my absolute staple for this mode, just because they're very versatile. And now that I do have that spawning pool, I'm going to start divvying up the rest of my larvae into overlords, because I'm trying to think ahead here, and into Zerglings so that I can get just a little bit of attack power on this rock over here in just a moment. You'll notice I'm not really concerning myself with anything that Steve is doing. I just don't have much reason to care, which to me kind of seems like a short sight, or an oversight, I should say. It seems like an oversight, because this is a co-op mode. Okay, so Kerrigan spawns, and the first objective is headed towards us. There's a train coming through the fog of war around here. You can't see it because it's under the fog of war. They added a really cool feature in one of these expansions where you can just press F2 and select your entire army, and then I can just right-click one spot and all of my units will go to that spot. I also like to set the rally point for all new units to Kerrigan, so that when I do have new Zerglings or Mutalisks ready, they will automatically head in her direction. Which I haven't done with these Zerglings, apparently. But that's okay.
Enemy forces detected. Prepare our defense.
I'm going to back off just a little bit so we can make use of all of Steve's photon cannons. Every Protoss player I've seen in co-op mode so far has done exactly this. They've just created a ton of stationary defensive buildings along the train's path. Okay, one of these drones is ready to be sacrificed for a spire. I could have had that sooner if I was paying more attention, but you know, I'm trying to talk and do this at the same time.
Explain.
Alright, we're going to destroy this rock finally. That one little drone over there will have something to do. You can see he's got a few zealots on his rock over there. I'm going to start spending all of my Vespene on some of those Zergling upgrades, because while they are not going to be my primary force, they're still going to prove rather useful.
We require more.
And you can see I'm out of Vespene right now, but hey, that's why I am expanding.
Our allies' base is threatened.
Alright, he needs some help dealing with these stalkers, or he's going to lose one or two of his cannons. I probably didn't have to take all my forces here. My micromanaging is absolutely non-existent. I just don't have those skills built up yet. I haven't really tried. Someday. Not worried about it yet.
Main objective detected. Destroy it before it escapes.
And it is moving quickly. Warriors, do not let it escape our grasp.
Not enough.
I'm actually out of minerals now. Because I just spent 300 on that hatchery, that's why. See, Steve is falling behind. He does not have any defenses along this track, unless he was just planning on letting me handle this by myself, which I'm fully capable of doing, honestly.
We need more minerals.
That metamorphosis, it just said was completed, was the metamorphosis of my Spire, which will allow my Mutalisks to evolve into Broodlords. It's kind of like the Zerg version of a Terran battlecruiser. I find them to be pretty useful. They're kind of slow moving, which turns some players off to them, I think, but I still like them just because they're cool. They're pretty beefy too.
Make it quick.
As you can see, none of this is really posing much of a challenge yet. There is such a gap in the required skill between normal and hard, which is obviously the reason I'm still doing this. Okay, I've had this hatchery up here for some time, I'm guessing. I just haven't been paying attention to it. So let's start getting some of those extractors going.
Hope you're ready for this. Already.
I like to be aggressive when I have the opportunity and there's enemies incoming. Just get them out of the way as fast as possible.
I am the sworn.
That way, if something else does come up while I might normally be dealing with them, it's already taken care of.
I need answers.
I like to think I've got the right mindset by doing that, by using that philosophy.
Research continues.
Additional Vespene required. Evolution completed. We require more minerals.
Oh, see, I built this extractor and then didn't actually bother to see when it was finished. So that's just been sitting there. This is why I'm practicing.
Main objective detected. Destroy it before it escapes.
Let's take it out. We don't have long. I need answers.
See, if I'm going to upgrade anything with the Mutalisks, I like to get Vicious Glaive, which doubles their bouncing attack so that they hit twice as many targets, and Rapid Regen, so that if they do take any damage, which some of them will, it's kind of inevitable, then they will kind of shrug that right off as soon as they're out of combat. I think that must be one of his racial abilities, one of his commander abilities. My commander ability is to assimilate enemy units. So I press this button and everything in this huge purple circle that I destroy will drop resources. So it'll drop minerals and Vespene. Oh, you know what? Okay, I think he's got enough photon cannons up there, so I'm going to come down here and make sure that this bonus train does not get away.
I've come this far.
Make sure my extractors are both fully droned up.
Yes.
and I am ready for this. Get out of here, Stalker.
My search continues.
Our forces are under
The first bonus train is actually not escorted for some reason. I believe that orbital bombardment was Steve's other commander ability.
The enemy is coming for us. Templar, ready your blades.
Alright, I just spent all my Vespine and I've got a big wave of Mutilisks coming. Oh, I need more Overlords. That's another thing I'm really bad about paying attention to.
Not enough supply. We will need to spawn overlords. Our allies are in combat.
He's gonna lose all of his Zealots right there. He probably doesn't care. That's okay though, because I am here with my massive army.
Our allies' base is threatened.
Rah!
Evolution completed.
I am the swarm. Make it quick.
Problem solved.
I've come.
Main objective located.
Okay, now I'm just going to go handle the bottom train.
The clock is
Let him
ticking.
deal with the
Get
top
ready
one.
to move out. I am the swarm. The fight begins. Make it quick.
And now we can start getting some stat upgrades for my Mutilisks, because I'm going to try to build those over the Zerglings as much as I possibly can.
Our
Come back, Carrie.
allies are in combat.
Need you over here.
Our allies' base is threatened.
Explain.
Alright, that train is toast.
Our allies are in combat.
I've come this far.
Now, let's help Steve. No, he's just wandering kind of into the enemy base there. It's something that you can do if you find that you're at a huge advantage, but as you can see, it's just full of defensive buildings and units. So there's not a whole lot of reason to go there. Kind of just dump resources into it.
Our allies' base is threatened.
Okay, I am nearing my supply limit. The supply limit in this game is 200,
Our adversaries intend to eliminate us.
which kind of sucks when you're playing Zerg because you can hit that kind of fast. And you just want to keep making more units, and the only way that you can do that is to either have your units die or
I've come
to
this far.
kill off some of your drones by just sending them to suicide.
No time. My search continues. No time like the present. I've come this far.
My Zerglings are pushing his Dragoons around.
I am the swarm.
Good stuff. Alright, look at my Overlord army. Nice. I don't actually send them anywhere. There's not a whole lot to do with them in this scenario.
It is attempting
But
to
hey,
flee.
now I have. Oh, why did I just make another Overlord?
We cannot allow
I still have
this.
not actually mastered my hotkeys yet. It takes a lot of time in practice.
Evolution complete. Additional Vespine required.
Yes.
And I'm just getting this unstoppable
Explain yourself.
blob that I could just split this up into two and it would be able to handle everything that comes at us in this scenario.
My search continues. The enemy is in my grip. Move in for the kill.
This mode does have some of those voice lines that exist specifically for co-op.
Quick.
They're kind of just cues from one player to another, so that when I do use an ability like my current ultimate, which stuns all enemies around me for a long period of time and deals some damage over time while they're stunned, then my ally might have some inkling as to how to react to that. Maybe.
Not enough Vespine.
Your queen
It's just a cool
listens.
little expression of the characters. Never mind that you've got mortal enemies here working together. Unless Kerrigan and Artanis are not
No time
actually
like the present.
mortal enemies. I don't actually know. I am only about halfway through
I
the
am the
Heart of the
Swarm.
Swarm campaign. I'm just sitting here doing nothing with all my Zerglings and
Templar,
Mutas.
prepare to intercept.
There's something to do.
Boldly.
Our forces
Hey,
are
hey.
under attack.
That ain't gonna fly.
I've come this far. I see. Boldly.
Oh, there was an attacking force there a couple seconds ago.
I am the Swarm.
Evolution completed. Main objective detected. Destroy it before it escapes.
There's only 3 trains left, not including the last fast track train, which should have some escort with it.
My search continues.
Our
Kerrigan
allies
likes to
are
take
in
her sweet time
combat.
getting where she's going.
Yes.
In the campaign, you can upgrade her to have faster movement speed, but not here. There might be an
You have my
upgrade that she
attention.
can get from leveling up, but I've yet to see it if that's the case.
Make it quick.
Our forces have
No,
met the
stop getting
enemy.
distracted.
Our
Alright, you know what?
allies are in combat.
Focus that thing down.
Bonus objective located.
Okay, I need to
Destroy it
move
before
and
it
handle
escapes.
these objectives instead.
Are under attack. Our allies are in
And the
combat.
train's gone. Let's go
No time
catch the
like the
fast one.
present.
Our allies' base.
Something
is
tells me it's not
threatened.
quite fast enough.
We require more Vespine gas.
And there is my supply limit
Our
reached.
allies are in
You can see in the top right I've got 200 out of 200, and that number is not going to increase anymore.
bonus objective.
I'd like to think I'm close to being able to handle the hard's difficulty of this. I think I'm going to have to try that next because it's
Brace
very clear
yourselves.
I've
Enemy forces are
completely got
inbound.
this under wraps. Yeah, not much point in doing anything else there. Let's just evolve some Brood Lords if I can. No, I can't because I'm out of supply, and upgrading a Mutalisk to a Brood Lord consumes 2 more supply, which I do not have.
Your queen listens.
Alright, he's gonna lose his Dragoons. Ah!
I've come this far.
Just waiting on that one last train.
I need answers. I am the Swarm.
I am expecting that in terms of getting good and at mastering this co-op mode, that it's going to be a pretty long-term process, because after hard, there is brutal, and considering that until now I really have not been good enough to even try hard, I'm not sure how difficult brutal is going to be. But hey, we're going to find out, right?
I need answers.
Carrie, get over there. Stun everything.
The enemy
Boom!
is stunned. Attack now. I am the Swarm.
And there goes everything.
Victory.
Victory is right. Yeah, didn't really break a sweat. But hey, I'm going to try hard next because it sure looks like I don't have a whole lot more reason to be on normal. Hopefully when I'm more focused I can do better with my macro management. So after the mission is complete, it takes you to a kind of results screen where it'll show you your overall progress, show you what you gained all of the experience for that mission from, apparently gives you any achievements if you earn them, shows you what you unlocked if you leveled up, which in this case is a lurker, which morphs from hydralisks, which I will probably not use at all, and tells me what I can get next, which is a bunch of upgrades for Hydralisks and Lurkers, which again, I probably will not use a whole lot. I know that Hydralisks aren't bad if you want something that's cheaper than Mutalisks and doesn't have quite as much utility, because number one, they can't fly, and number two, they don't have a bouncing attack. But hey, you know, I'll experiment. I don't really know shit about this game, and we'll go from there. Until next time, this is Rocket Ethereal, signing off.